Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try to do justice. I could read on about our guest speaker, Ms. Jackie Joyner-Kersee. As one of the most decorated female athletes of all time, Jackie Joyner-Kersee dominated the track and field circuit for 13 years and won 3 gold medals, 1 silver, 2 bronze medals, spanning 4 Olympic Games during her illustrious career. Ms. Kersee attended college at UCLA, starred in both track and field and women's basketball from 1980 to 1985. A 4-year starter on the Bruins basketball team, she is still among the school career leaders in scoring average and rebounding and assists. Ms. Kersee embarked upon a nationwide effort to enhance the comprehensive health of our nation's communities throughout the promotion of healthy lifestyle. She has been asked by the United States Department of Agriculture to promote My Plate, the replacement of food pyramid. She has also joined forces with the 77-year-old Old Farm Foundation to address the availability of healthy food challenge in communities throughout the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Ms. Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Mr. President, and the Des, and to all of you. Thank you for allowing me to be here to share my story as well as have a dialogue with you. I got started through AAU. I really didn't know what AAU was all about, but because of AAU, I was introduced to sports that I love. Because in my elementary school as well as middle school, we weren't doing sports. And nothing against being a cheerleader, but that's where we were geared towards, is being cheerleaders. And I was a cheerleader, and I cheered for our Little League football team as well as in the middle school. But then when I got to high school, my coach said to me that you had to give that up because one day people are going to be cheering for you. And so I gave up being a cheerleader once I went to high school. But before I even got there, I got involved at the tender age of 9. And I wasn't one of the best girls. And I wanted to be good. And track and field really challenged me. But I love going to practice every day. I love trying to figure out, can I run around this park one time without stopping? And it was very tough, and I thought it would be easy. I wanted to be on the relay team with my friends, and I realized that my friends was much faster. But my coach said to me, if I work hard, that you will become better. And every day, every summer, I was out there trying to become better. And then eventually they would put us in what we call the multi-events. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to high jump. I didn't even know how to throw that heavy ball, but Coach put us in it. And eventually I would go to different national championships, and one was the first time I ever got to fly on an airplane. And as I'm walking through the airport in St. Louis, I run into Mr. Bill Cosby. And our coach go over and introduce us and say, well, they're on their way to Yakima. And I'm like, I never flown before, and so I don't know what to expect. But I'm going to these nationals, and I'm doing the pentathlon. So we go to Yakima, Washington, and I'm in the Pentathlon Championship. And my teammate, Deborah Thurston, she's a much better half miler than I was at the time. And it comes down to the last event. And I remember looking at Deborah, and I said to her that I don't care about what it says on the paper, that right now you should win according to our times, because your times, you can run 2:19, and I'm running 2:30, 2:32 or something like that. So we lined up and run around, and I get my lifetime best. I run 2:19. I win the national championship and set the record. And I was like, woo! And it all started, at Yakima, Washington. And next thing, I was in Faces in the Crowd in Sports Illustrated. And, first thing people say, oh, you in Sports Illustrated, like you got a big layout. But no, it's just a little picture talking about my hometown of East St. Louis and what I had accomplished. And, and all that was, fine and dandy. And at that time, I think I was 14. And at the same time, our coach telling us about the Olympic Games going to be on television and wanted us to watch. And I started seeing, women doing what I was trying to do. It started making sense. And also at that time, they would put the university or the school that you attended. And I remember seeing Evelyn Ashford. And they would put UCLA. And I also played AAU basketball down in Milledgeville, Georgia. And whoa, Teresa Atwood was there. I mean, it was just some outstanding women, young girls playing basketball. And then 1978, years later, I see Annie Myers and Anita Ortega playing, at that time, the AAU Championship against Maryland. And UCLA name came up again. And it was my hope that maybe they would recruit me, but because of my hometown and where I grew up, we always felt that people would be fearful of coming into our community because of the reputation. And as young people, we did not know that recruiters, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're good, they're going to find you. And that opened our eyes. And eventually, I go on and try to make my first Olympic team, a senior in high school, go to the Olympic trials in the 80s, and didn't do too well. I finished 8th, and I wouldn't have made the team, and we didn't send a team after all. But then, all of a sudden, I'm at UCLA, and all kind of challenges I'm faced with. I'm diagnosed with being an asthmatic, and at the same time, I lose my mother to the worst form of meningitis, all unexpectedly. All of a sudden, I travel back home. I go to a center where I grew up running, and that center is closed. I started thinking about where do the young people go. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about maybe one day I could reopen that center, not knowing that I don't have the resources to do that. So I continue on. What I had going for me was that scholarship. So I go back to school in hopes of trying to make an Olympic team. And basketball I loved doing, but I just had this knack for wanting to see how good I could become. And the first opportunity presented itself. I redshirted my senior year at UCLA in '84, and I have this opportunity to make the team. Throughout that summer, had done extremely well. At our Olympic trials, I set a national record. And so now people are picking me to win the gold medal. And I go into those Olympic Games training extremely hard and, just trying to put yourself in the best position possible. Had never been injured before. All of a sudden, I tear my left hamstring muscle with about 6 weeks out from the games. And because I had never been injured, all of a sudden, it's like my world was coming to an end. I talked about my dream of trying to make an Olympic team. I am actually here. And now all of a sudden, I'm lining up with a bandage on my leg. So that means that something must be wrong. So as I attacked the first event in the heptathlon, the 100-meter hurdles, I'm coming out the blocks, but in my mind, I am anticipating a pain that's not there. And even though my coaches and my physical therapists and everyone says, Jackie, everything is going to be okay. I go to the next event, the high jump. I high jump off my left leg, which that's the leg that's heavily bandaged. And as I approach my run and approach the bar, and as I'm trying to take off and get clearance over the bar, I'm anticipating that same pain that's not there. But in my mind, it is. I go to the next event, the shot put, the least of one of my favorites. So I get in the ring, nothing against shot put coaches, or any athletes, It is what it is, but I come across, I glide, up, it goes. Not far enough, but enough to say that I'm okay to go to the last event on the first day, the 200 meters. Attack the 200 meters, looking, feeling, searching for that pain, but it's not there. Physical therapist, we ice down, say everything's going to be okay. You need to eat, you got to get ready, you got the next day. The next day come, long jump. I long jump off my right leg, but the long jump is my favorite event. I ain't thinking about or looking for no pain. I'm ready to go. I come down that runway, giving it all my might. I hit that board, and officials, you put up that red flag. So I knew that wasn't a mark. So I come back down again. It's like, got to get a mark in. Look at the officials. Red flag. I'm like, oh, I got to get one jump in order to continue on. So I come down, get a safe jump. Didn't want to make it too much of a safe jump, but I did. Hit the board, thought I did. Land in the pit, look back at the official, white flag, didn't touch the board at all, really behind, 2 feet like. At that time, I'm a 22-footer, and my mark was 20 feet 8 and a half. So now I'm really devastated, crying and pouting, and then my coach come out of nowhere to remind me that heptathlon is the makeup of 7 events, not 1. You got 2 more to go. So wipe the tears and let's go. I didn't want to hear that. So I did wipe them tears and got ready to throw the javelin. Throw the javelin, it goes, lining up for my last event, the 800 meters. And at the same time, they were announcing that my brother Al Joyner had just won the gold medal in the triple jump. And so as I'm running, I take off, and I'm running, I'm giving it all my might, and I didn't have any more energy, and my brother was on the back stretch, and I was like, oh, I wish I had a wig, because, we look so much alike. If we could exchange spots, you could take my place, but that wasn't going to happen. I got to the 700-meter mark, and I gave it all I had to give, and I knew when I crossed the finish line that Glennis Nunn from Australia had won the gold, and Jackie Joyner at the time would be silver medalist. I remember embracing Glennis, and I was saying congratulations, and she was saying congratulations to me, but I was like, no, I didn't. I know I didn't win. And she goes, yes, you did. I was like, no, I know I didn't win. I knew exactly what I had to do and what I hadn't done. I knew in those 2 days of the competition that I didn't replenish my fluids, and I didn't eat in between the events like I was supposed to. I didn't go to the start line thinking like a champion. I went there wondering, thinking, and feeling a pain that was never there. I wasn't strong mentally, and I did not deserve to win the gold medal. And the moral of this story is that was the beginning of me trying to become the best athlete possible. So I said, if God bless me to make another Olympic team, that I want to be the toughest athlete out there mentally. Because when it comes down to it, yes, it's my dream, it's my desire. But why have coaches, a physical therapist, and people who are on your team trying to make a difference? And that's why AAU, Mr. Forrest talks about in the 90s, I remember in the 70s. I remember when we couldn't find resources to even get to the meets. The meets were only in driving distance. Our coaches would work extremely hard, parents, trying to find resources to make sure that we could do what we love doing. And that's being able to participate in a sport that young people enjoy doing. all of you that sit before me is that it is left up to you to be the voices of the voiceless, because young people will follow your lead. We must find a way to continue to work together, because when we do not work together, we will not win. When I did not listen to my coach, when I did not listen to my physical therapist and went on my own, I paid a heavy price for me. A silver medal is okay for someone else. But when you have the ability to win the gold, then it is a failure on my part because I chose not to listen. When you have the ability to stand in front of millions to make a difference in the lives of so many young people, and when you decide that that's not what you want to do, think of the young people who are going to suffer the consequence. So it is left up to each and every one of you to agree to disagree. Personalities are going to be personalities, but somehow we must find a way to come together to make AAU stand in the forefront, because it was there before anyone else came along. Because without AAU, Jackie Joyner could have never, ever pursued her dreams. So I say to you that change is hard, but sometimes change is good. But you hold the power to make a difference in the lives of the voiceless, because it's your decision that's going to impact the AAU from here and years to come. And if I leave you with one statement, I leave you with this quote. And that is, that we share shall multiply. That we hold back shall diminish. God bless you, and move it forward.